Hello and welcome to episode 12 of the Critical Twits. This week we're going to be taking a look at the brand new-ish sort of miniatures game, Guild Ball, in a new feature, Critical Hit or Miss.
Yay!
Yay!
I'm Brian Ennis.
I'm Aaron Ravinsky.
And I'm Colin Howard.
Last as always. So, which one of you guys, let's dive straight in, would like to explain what Guild Ball is?
Guild Ball is a miniature game about playing medieval football.
Yeah.
Excellent.
That was hard.
Yeah.
And it was. You're actually sweating.
I am. I don't think I'd make that.
So it's a skirmish miniatures game, I suppose.
Yeah, it's essentially a game of five-a-side.
Yeah.
What, it was 6?
With a mascot.
Yeah. Who can't do a lot, but are entertaining nonetheless.
Yeah, we'll get to them in a minute because I like the mascots.
Yeah.
But yeah, you've got 5 actual footballers on your team. Each team plays for a medieval guild, which you could probably get from the name Guild Ball. So you have butchers, fishermen,
Alchemists.
Yeah, it's a bit of magic-y stuff there.
I've gone suddenly blank. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Engineers.
Engineers?
Morticians.
Morticians. I have morticians, yes.
Yes. That's what I remember.
This is exciting. We're like a well-oiled machine. The engineers would disapprove heartily of our rustiness.
Well, we
No,
disapprove of the
because they
engineers
make
as well.
everything out of wood. But we'll get to that later because I need a rant for that.
So you have, at the moment, they're just introducing, the game's been out for about a year, hasn't it?
Yeah,
And they're introducing their Season 2 models. So everyone's got 7 or 8 models from the first season, which come in the rulebook. Well, the rules come in the rulebook, the models don't come in the rulebook. That would be weird.
Yes.
And you pick and choose 5 of those. One of them has to be your captain, although they are just introducing alternative captains. But I'll come to that in a bit. You can also take a mascot.
Yes.
For your team, and you play football.
Yeah.
Yes.
But as Colin said, medieval football.
Yes.
So there's no offside rule.
No.
Not that you two know what that is either.
No.
Got a vague idea.
Vague idea. Go on, explain the offside rule then, Aaron.
Right, hang on. Right.
Between the two of us, we
for
can
this.
do this.
Yeah, right. So it's when you're in your opposing team's side of the pitch,
Yeah.
Oh!
and you're ahead of the ball because you're in a
No, your pass, isn't it when somebody
has
passes
to
you the
pass
ball
you the ball while
you're
their
in
players
front of their defenders?
Yes, yeah. So you're closer to the goal than their defenders are.
Yeah,
as a
so you
player, and
basically
then someone
can't
passes
just-
you the ball.
Hoop the ball all the way down to
Yeah.
the bottom of the pitch to your mate who's standing in the corner going, hello.
Yeah, because you essentially play a player in a two-man advantageous position.
Surprisingly close. But after that lovely detailed explanation, don't need to worry about that. You can stand your players wherever you like. Because it's medieval football.
Yes.
You can also kick, punch, throw poisoned knives at,
Impale.
Set fire to.
set fire to the opposing
Disembowel.
team.
Yes.
And you either need to score 3 goals or 6 knockouts, or any combination therein. So 2 goals and 2 knockouts, for instance.
Yeah.
In order to win.
Yeah.
Fairly straightforward.
Yeah.
Game is played on a board the same size as Malifaux, 3x3. And the actual official mat is a thing of joyous wonder.
He's beautiful and nice and sturdy.
Yes.
Yes,
It is
lovely.
actually.
it's everything the Malifaux mat that I ordered from abroad claimed to be and wasn't.
Yeah.
Does it have a Malifaux map?
Yeah, you haven't really seen it. It's because it wasn't very good.
Oh.
And it came with its own carrying case. It was amazing.
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
I didn't even know it came with a carrying case. Just like a free case to carry it around in.
Was it official from the actual guild?
Yeah, it's theirs.
Very generous, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're very, very nice. Now, we got into Guild Ball when we were at Dragon Meet.
Yes.
My mind just went blanker than Colin's. So when we were at Dragon Meet, we met some of their team, some of their studio.
Mhm.
They ran us through a game.
Yes. The little 3x3 game with the butchers and the fishermen.
Yes.
I'd just like to point out that I was interested in it before then, but no one wanted to play.
Well,
At the UK Games Expo, I saw them there and we had a chat. It looked fun, and then everybody went, "No, we'll come back," and never did. So I'm going to sit here superior.
It's not about the game, Colin. It's all about you.
Isn't that what football's all about? It's not about the game, it's about the players.
It's about the team.
No, it's about the winning.
It's about winning. It's a results industry. People who know about football, I'm going to be hilarious. You two are just going to look at me. Yes, because you two, let's get to what. You two don't know much about football. You're not into football.
No.
You've played it a bit because that's what boys do in this country. Otherwise, the other boys hit you with a brick for being gay.
Yes.
Well, there's nothing else to do at lunchtime.
Also very true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to pretend I was a Power Ranger sometimes.
I did in primary school, but in secondary school, you're not allowed to play soldiers or.
I do on my
Power
breaks
Rangers.
at the school I work at now. What's your problem?
We did cops and robbers.
we can get away with
in
that,
primary school. Did you ever do cops and robbers in primary school?
No, we did War of the Worlds.
War of the Oh, bloody hell!
Yeah.
Oh no, we did cops and robbers.
Ooh la! So yeah, tales of schoolyard games aside, not really into football.
Not particularly.
I like football. I still play football.
I know your Facebook. It's
My Facebook.
Yeah, your Facebook. You put a message up going, "Oh, Arsenal," and I died inside.
Oh yeah, it was just a random message like block him.
I think I unfollowed him and then blocked him.
Now, for the listeners at home, the loyal Twit army, as I have come to call you in my
I quite
head.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hope you guys do as well. Obviously.
Twit army, Twit army. Again, that's a football thing.
I don't like it anymore.
No, too
rubbish.
far. Actually, that'd be a good thing for us to do as a chart. Anyway, I really like football. So I've got a completely different perspective on it because I'm actually looking at it as a football game as well as a miniatures fighting
Okay.
kind of game.
I would enjoy football more if it was more like Guild Ball.
To be honest,
to be totally honest,
I have always said over the years that if you gave all the players baseball bats and they're allowed to cripple each other, I'd be more interested.
It's quite interesting because I've played a lot of five-a-side. And up and down the country, there are these giant cages. They have these giant cages where they put groups of men, angry men, of an evening in the rain and the snow, and they call them Power Leagues. And in Power League, what you have is a very young person or a very old person who's supposed to be the referee. And the men inside the cage pay like 45 quid a game per team. It's really expensive.
It's a lot of money.
To kick each other and to slam each other into the walls.
Isn't that what we call cage fighting?
While the referee... No, there's a ball that gets kicked occasionally, but essentially it's like a big fight.
Yeah.
So Guild Ball does kind of remind me of when I used to play competitive five-a-side.
Okay, fair enough. I might go watch some or join in some. No, not join in.
No, Aaron, we die.
I've had some great games at Power League. I've met some lovely people there. I've also broken 4 bones playing Power League.
Okay, this is sounding like Guild Ball.
It does,
yeah.
Well, 2 bones, 1 3 times, and my nose once.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah,
fair. I've had less
Violent.
injuries from actual fights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gave it up. I genuinely
So when you were
had
in
to
your
stop.
slapping fight. No, please don't hit me.
Now, on a Monday, I have a kick around with the Young Men's Christian Association of Yaxley.
Oh. Is it actually gentle, or are they taking out their Christmas?
No, it's really
decorations
nice.
on you?
One guy got absolutely hacked down the other week, and he just got up and told the guy who took him out that was very naughty.
That's actually really beautiful.
I love playing
Can't keep
football.
any of this. It's funny.
I love playing football. I always love playing football. It's a great game. I stopped playing football when everybody became a bunch of twats about it. Oh, he kicked me! Alright. A year ago, he kicked you and we went, it's alright. It was an accident.
Yeah.
He didn't mean it. Are you alright? Let's pull you up and we'll carry on playing. And then all of a sudden it was, oh, free kick and oh, dad, red card. Oh, shut up. It's boring.
I think that's the thing that really put me off about actual football. Is it stopped being, because I know you've made this argument. It seems like they're being really weak. Well, studs do bloody hurt when you get kicked by them.
Yes.
It just seemed like a lot of chancing, like a lot of, instead of playing the game, they're going, well, maybe I could get a free
Maybe
advantage from something that doesn't really affect me. rather than actually playing it fairly.
That's how games work, isn't it? That's all game theory. All gaming systems are open to abuse.
Yeah, I know, but we don't sit there with if we sat there with the miniatures, I mean, this is why we stopped playing some war games, because somebody stick a card in between, they're not touching.
Oh, yeah, game of War Machine.
If
where
one of us accidentally flicks one of the models and then moves it back to roughly where it is, we'll check with the others, try and make sure it's in the fair position, but we don't do that deliberately and then
I do.
Right.
I don't really.
If you were playing a game of football and say I took Aaron out, I'd like to think that Aaron would know it was by accident.
Yeah, I know. Even if you were really going in hard, you wouldn't deliberately trying to cripple me.
No.
It was just a matter of you wanted to get the ball.
I tried to get the ball, and I unfortunately, I remember a football game. I tried to get the ball to someone, and he pushed me to the floor. Bear in mind, he was nearly 6 foot, so I went fucking flying, and that's when I stopped playing. So I went, this isn't a game. This is
just a fight with a ball.
It's rubbish.
Which is fine if that's what you're in for. But
and that's actually my experience of playing sort of local level competitive football. It's just a fight with the ball. And there's a lot of crazy people who on their Sunday morning or their Thursday evening, they want an excuse to hurt someone.
Which is not what you want. Not what I want.
If you sign up, if you know that's what's going to happen and you go into it, that's fair enough because you're doing it with other people that may be into it, but it stops being
I want to.
a fun game.
I'm a little person. I want to,
I just wanted a bit of exercise and to kick a ball around.
Yeah. I just want to be loved.
It's not going to happen, Brian.
We quite enjoy that level of violence in Guild Ball.
Oh, yes, but isn't it the same thing like we enjoy that level of violence in computer games?
Yes, exactly.
I don't want to go to war.
No.
I don't want to shoot people.
I don't really want to smash an actual bottle over somebody's head, but in the game.
No, cool. Load GTA 5 up, I'll run over as many pedestrians as I can if it comes to sport.
Yeah. So I wake up every day sad that I'm not allowed to hurt people. So am I wrong? Am I unusual?
Might need to just stop the podcast for a bit.
I really enjoy these comfortable sides. I don't know where sarcasm ends and reality begins.
Neither do we. It's why we start getting worried.
When the bodies start piling up, that's when...
If I become quieter during the podcast, it's because the other two have moved away and taken the microphone with them. Or they've jammed it up somewhere. It's the old style, almost medieval kind of football.
Where two villages against each other.
Yeah, but in miniature.
Yeah.
You've got a goal at either end. The game starts by one team kicking the ball to the other. And then you take turns, you activate one model each. So again, a bit like Malifaux that we talked about. So please go back and listen to Malifaux. Because I don't really want to talk about why that's good again. But it's really good to take turns alternating.
Keep the game flowing.
You feel involved all the time like you would do in a real game. It gives it that flow that would be in an actual game of football. You'd always be doing something.
It has that kind of that chaos. You do something, someone else does something. It's not... I remember playing Blood Bowl. I played quite a bit of Blood Bowl when I was younger and I knew no better, which is American football, but you move your entire team, then the opponent moves their entire team. And you can throw the ball, you can get from one end to the other in one go with the opponent not able to do anything to stop it.
There's no counteracting.
But that does almost suit American football because that's sort of kind of how they set themselves up. There's a lot of stop and start in American football where somebody's down, that's it, everybody reassigns and sits and chooses positions and stuff.
Not a huge fan of American football.
No, but, as a parallel, it works, sort of thing. But it wouldn't, like you said, it wouldn't work at all in Guild Ball because you just go in and score a goal.
Yeah, you'd get your models in place, you'd pass the ball 4 times and score, and then they'd do the same to you. And so it's nice to have that kind of that back and forth, that chance to react. The rules themselves are fairly simple.
You say that, but I disagree.
Really? I quite like the rules because they're very... They're easy to parallel with real world stuff, whereas I tend to find with some war games, it's like, I can't really put that into real terms, so it's hard for my brain to process.
Where would you put it on a scale of Tiddlywinks to Twilight 2000 on the difficult to play scale? And for those who don't know, Twilight 2000 is a post-apocalyptic role-playing game where if you fired an anti-tank missile at a tank, you had to calculate the angle of entry of the rocket in order to work out whether it would glance off or actually have a chance of penetrating through the armour. You needed a protractor to play the game.
Wow. Well, Well, see, I'd actually put it in the same kind of technical level as Malifaux.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It has the same kind of... Well, all your models move individually.
Mm-hmm.
They all have about 19 different things you can possibly do.
Yes.
No, I'd say they don't seem as complicated.
I mean, no, I would say...
That's because you've got less of them.
You do have less models. I would say it's actually below Malifaux, because Malifaux has 4 different win conditions, where this has 2. Kick the ball in the net or beat the team to death.
Yeah, and you get a number of points.
The only reason I say it's complicated is we all play a lot of war games, and we've gone, yeah, right, that's easy to pick up. When my girlfriend was sitting here, and she watched us play a game, I explained to her afterwards what was happening in a basic rundown of the rules, and she looked at me as if I'd just come up with a new theory of the creation of the universe.
Okay.
She had no clue what was going on at all. Even though I explained it as you move, kick the ball, roll dice, she's never played a war game and didn't understand. Whereas I've played things like Warhammer 40k and Lord of the Rings with her, and she's understood that.
Because everything's very cut and paste.
It's move, roll dice, things die. Yeah. Whereas in this, there's more things to do.
So it's more of a mid-level entry type thing. Yes. You need to have some concept of... It's like introducing somebody to chess after they play checkers, I suppose. Yeah. You've got more options. It's the same principle in the game, but you've got more options able to do, so it's a little bit more complicated.
Yeah, that's
not
a good
excessively,
analogy.
I wouldn't say.
No, it's not
given 5 minutes,
it's no what game you just said.
Twilight 2000.
Twilight 2000, but I wouldn't say it's the easiest war game if you've never played one before.
Yeah, that seems like a fair thing, because you've got a lot. If you used to having an army of several things to just deal with, and suddenly you've got several things on one card, possibly.
Yeah,
but for anybody who's ever played any type of war game before, I'd say
they'll pick it up very easily. Yeah. I'd put it at the same level as, say, War Machine.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's where I'd put it, which can be very daunting if you don't know what you're doing, or you've never
know what you're doing.
Yeah. Or you've never played that type of thing before, because it's all about linking units and what you can do and what you can't do.
I would say I would find this Guild Ball easier than War Machine or Hordes.
Oh, really?
Because War Machine Hordes, you have to move everything all at once. You have to be able to process everything your opponent's army can do all at the same time.
Okay.
Whereas in Guild Ball, you can theoretically go, right, that model's nowhere near for activation ranges and stuff, so I can just focus on what that one can do, which you can look at their player's card and things.
Yeah.
So you can just focus on one character or a couple of them, rather than the entire army going, well, that might work with that in the next turn.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's easier to process as such, which is why I tend to be... I don't think I've won a game yet, potentially, but I can actually do tactics and stuff in this one because I'm not overwhelmed.
Have you not won a game?
No, I've only played 3 so far.
Have I, actually. I've played 2.
I've come close, but I've not...
What I found interesting with it is that games can be quite abstract.
Yes, yeah.
So I'm going to fire a laser from this rifle. It's 1 dice. I'm going to fire a burst of bullets from this machine gun. It's 1 dice.
Yeah.
Okay, why is that? I'm going to roll to see if my armour saves me, but he's already rolled and hurt you.
Yes.
How does that make sense? That doesn't make sense. That genuinely doesn't make sense.
Do you know, that's always been a bug for anybody that knows what game we're talking about. That always bugged me. I don't know why. It was always in the back of my head going, well, why does that work?
Is it a tyrannid bear? Rather than bugbear. Oh, puns. Warhammer 40,000 or those sorts of games. Yeah, they're abstracted. I think, to me, Guild Ball feels less abstracted. I think that it's easier to look at the table and see what's going on.
Yes, yeah.
And it's easier to think of tactics because it mirrors a real life game that is the most popular game in the world. Well, I say game sport that most of us have played. You know, okay, that guy's, he says he's a striker, he needs to be near the goal.
Yeah.
That guy's really big and bulky, put him in the way so they can't get round him.
Yeah.
You don't want all your team all in one bit. You need to spread out. If they've got the ball, you need to tackle them.
Yeah.
It's got a little more...
Well, I found myself in this game going, okay, well, if somebody kicks him the ball, can he then volley it into the goal then? Yes, there's a rule in there for that. Whereas playing Malifaux or War Machine or stuff, I'm not going, well, if somebody fired an arrow into that piece of scenery, can it bounce off and go there? Have I got, it's not as, like you said, it's not as concrete. It's less abstract.
Yeah.
There are parallels in real world things for you to go, oh, it's because it's like that. Get it now.
Yeah.
And for simpletons like myself with war games, it's very nice to go, oh, there's a concept in the game of that, and it's like half a paragraph worth of rule.
Yeah, the rules themselves are probably only 50 or 60 pages of the book.
If that, to be honest.
And they're really nicely illustrated. The rule book confused me, actually, because it's the same size as a normal A4 size rule book.
Yeah.
But it's bound along the other edge.
Yeah.
So it opens up really wide. Which I found really confusing at first. And it took up loads of space. But actually, what that does is it lets you have 2 columns of text and space for pictures on the side and arrows and things like that. And everything's just really nicely explained.
Yeah.
I found there's hardly any having to flick back and forth. Once you know roughly where you need to look for a given thing, you just check it very quickly and then you move on. I found it's got a lot, for me it felt like there was a lot less to get my head round than playing Malifaux or when I started playing War Machine, and you had to take loads and loads and loads of things into consideration. There's also, because it's still relatively new, there's only sort of 10 models aside to choose from, so you're not overwhelmed with choice, and you're not being told, oh well, you can't take that one and that one because it's not competitive.
It's just a matter of, do you like playing with those characters? Yes. There you go. Play with them.
And every single model is unique. They have their own name, their own stats, their own special abilities, and their own backstory in the book. So for me, it mirrors the game in enough to be fun, but not in enough minute, boggling detail that you're bored. The same way that a game of FIFA on your PlayStation or your Xbox doesn't take 45 minutes a half. It distills it down into the best bits. The last-ditch tackle, the crashing the ball in from 30 yards.
How long did
doing a goal, as Colin would say.
How long were our games taking?
Hour and a half, I think.
So maybe about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours.
On the first couple of games we played. We'll just get used to our different
Just
it says
about average length for a war game.
It says 90 to 120 minutes.
So around that. So that's surprisingly accurate, because war games almost never are that.
Malifaux says that, and then it takes twice as long to play. We've not had a proper game of Malifaux that's taken less than 4 hours. Still, a year on.
So you can get a couple of games in an evening. Sort of thing, which is nice.
Did, I believe.
That's a very meandering look at what Guild Ball actually is. It's football in the medieval times with a little bit of
punchy kicking,
which is
and a little bit of
medieval times.
And a little bit of fantasy kind of stuff.
There's a little bit in there.
Yes,
we have to make it interesting.
So your alchemists,
our friend who's gone now. I was looking at him before, but he's playing them now.
The alchemists have have some magical abilities. They've got kind of like a Frankenstein style character. They've got a character that's sustaining themselves through magical serum that makes them really strong and good at Guild Ball, but then they're dying. You've got the engineers essentially have some magical constructs. You've got the fishermen have got a character called Siren who can tempt people over.
She's not listed as human on a card.
I think she might be. I had this wibbly wobbly argument with someone because I thought she wasn't.
There's a couple of characters. I think Kraken's not listed as a.
No, Kraken's
listed as something else.
So there's other things, and each team has a mascot.
They're lovely,
and they kind of take part in the game as well, and that's a little bit not that realistic because you wouldn't get a sea otter like the fishermen still have running around kicking a football and actually doing that with intent to
score,
to do anything. But you can put your mascot in goal. Top tip number 1.
Depending on your mascot's abilities and stuff.
Doesn't matter. Stop me winning.
No, I was going to say my because I'm playing the Brewers. We get a cat as our little mascot. They're basically very Scottish themed, and the cat works very well with the captain. Gives the captain advice, so I'm fairly sure the captain's mad. And talks to the cat and plays better because of it. So the cat needs to be nearby him to. But the mascots are
entertaining.
Yeah,
Yes.
and the models themselves are quite individual, quite interesting. There's a nice sort of balancing system. The captains are very powerful. They're your best figure pieces. And then you've got a variety of, sort of different abilities. So you might have someone who's really good at beating people up.
Yeah.
But they don't generate a lot of what they call influence. And your influence is kind of your currency for your actions. So a bit like you would in a game such as War Machine or Hordes, you count up the influence of the models that are on the table, because they can get beaten up. They don't die, but they get knocked out, and they have to get sponged down. Yeah. So there's lots of nice nods to football as well. We'll quickly go into those in it. Well, I will on my own, while these two just wander off. Open creaky doors. You pull those together, you distribute them at the start of the game, or distribute them, depending on where you're from. You give them out at the start of the turn, and then there's an element of sort of tactical planning. You're thinking, this guy's going to need lots, this girl's not going to need too many.
Very much like War Machine and handing out your focus to your jacks. You roughly want to plan what you're going to do.
Some of the models, so like when I play the Morticians, they have abilities. Their captain can steal influence, can move influence around, and things like that. So a bit more tactically flexible, but not as good at, say, beating things up as the Butchers Guild are, or scoring goals as the Fleet-Footed Fishermen are. Those kind of things. Each team has its own kind of play style. And different sort of abilities for each of the characters, as we said, that trigger off of using this influence to do anything more mundane than walking around. You can walk around for free, everything else costs. So if you want to kick the ball, it'll cost you a point of influence. If you want to try and tackle someone, and you don't need to tackle the person with the ball, so it's a bit like American football in that sense. You just run up to someone and punch them in the face if you like.
Well, that's different from tackling.
Well, yes, tackling is something where you nick the ball, but
But you can just go, oh, look, the mascot's sitting on the side of the board waving the team on. I'm going to run up and kick it in the face.
Yes. Easy points on the mascots.
Easy points, very easy points.
But if you're anything like the Otter, they make the rest of the team very, very angry.
Yeah, the fishermen get mad. And actually have a chance of hurting someone.
For
a friendly advice for everyone, don't kick otters.
No. You can kick the cat, though.
Kick cats all you want. Anyone seen our Fallout video, they know I'm full up for kicking of cats.
It's sad now. So, yes, you distribute your influence, you sort of plan ahead, but then because you're taking turns, things can go terribly wrong. Everything's based on a dice pool system. So, for instance, apart from sort of moving where you have set ranges, if you want to kick the ball, you might have 3 dice and you'll need 4 pluses. So you roll the 3 dice. If one of those is a 4 plus, you've managed to kick the ball to the person you were aiming at and was there in range. These things can then be modified by the presence of enemies, or boosted or harmed by various sort of abilities that people have. You've got the same with tackling. You roll a number of dice equal to your tactical, they call it. And then compare that to your opponent's defence. So if you're a nimble character, really nimble, you might have a defence of 5. So your opponent needs to roll 5s. Some of the models only have a defence of 2. So although they're big and tough, they're really easy to hit. And it has what they call a playbook system. So say you get 3 hits, you might then say lose 1 because the opponent has a point of armour. So you've got 2 points. So you look at the first 2 columns on the tactical playbook. That's the word. Thank you. So you look at the first 2 columns on the playbook, and you can pick any of the results from there. It was a little odd the first couple of times we did anything, and then it clicked really easily, and it's actually a really nice way of, the better you do, the more options you unlock, and the better stuff is further along, so you need more.
You want more hits.
Yes.
More successes, if you like.
For you to be able to score goals or go first during your next turn, you need to generate momentum. And on these columns, certain sections, you have 2 options per column. One of them will be coloured in. generally.
Generally, yeah. Generally, it's one on in each column. And not always.
Those colouring in things might not be what you want to do at the time.
Yeah.
You might want to do more damage to somebody, but like if you're the fisherman and stuff, moving around will generate you more momentum.
Yes, fishermen don't have a lot of damage.
No.
Momentum
based stuff.
Most of their stuff is movement.
So you then get stuck with then you're sitting there with a choice of either hurting somebody, which is not really to your team's advantage, or moving around a little bit, maybe not doing anything potentially, as far as it seems, but generating momentum, allowing you to then take a shot at goal with somebody else.
Yeah, and the way it seems to me is that each team has its play style, so the choice of momentum, where the momentum is, helps to reflect that. But to me, it's kind of, you're getting the crowd on board.
Yes.
So if you're a fan of a particular team, you're going to expect that team to play in a certain way.
Yeah.
And that's very much how football works.
Yeah.
If you're a Barcelona fan, you expect them to pass the ball around a lot, keep possession. If you're an Arsenal fan, you expect them to try to do that, fail, and lose to teams they shouldn't. If you're a Man United fan, you want them to attack, and they don't anymore because they're boring. You're looking at me blank, but there's someone there on the internet is laughing.
What about Barnet?
Barnet, it's all about the hairstyles.
What about the Isle of...
Hey, Barnet!
What about the Isle of Skye?
The Isle of Skye don't have a team.
Do they not?
No.
Is that because they drink all the whiskey? I like the Isle of Skye.
Yeah.
Great whiskey.
It's because they're just a cloud.
Ah, that's racist. To clouds.
Time out. So yeah, each team has its own personality, and you're kind of doing what your fans expect you to do, getting the crowd on side, building up. And football itself is a game all about momentum. So you'll often get, they scored, and it's been coming, and you've been getting that feeling that eventually something's going to happen for them. They've been attacking.
Well, I always, having no knowledge of football whatsoever, I always presume that because you need to generate momentum before you could even score, I always presume that was your team's all riled up and you're kicking the ball bloody hard.
Yeah.
Possibly.
So hard that you're...
and they're getting the adrenaline.
Yeah, you're getting that burst of energy and speed going, we can do it, lads.
It's slightly artificial if your character is stood there looking at the goal going, I want to score.
Yeah.
But it stops... It's a nice way of getting you to do things. It gives you a second chance as a defender if they're about to score, but right, they're going to have to generate momentum somehow. They're going to have to do something. I've probably got a model to do something, a last-ditch attempt to try and stop it, which helps to breed drama.
I mean, it's also the thing where, you, as you were saying, you got your striker standing near the goal all going, I'm going to score. Great. Throw your defender in and knock the guy to the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That screws that plan, and then give him a good kicking while he's down.
Yes. Yeah.
That's why I love the Brewers.
Yeah, which is why I like Guild Ball, because you're going, he's going to score. No, because I've just knocked him out.
Yeah.
I've just beaten him half to
It's
death.
not just scoring and helping you go first that momentum can be used for. It can be used in all sorts of ways. It's probably the area where the game is at its most complicated.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I really like it. I think it's really good. You need something to keep track of it. We've been using 20-sided dice, which is slightly optimistic.
Yeah.
But some tokens, a dice, something like that, just to keep track of it as you go through. But you can spend it to basically play a 1-2, so you pass the ball to someone and then move forwards. So you kick the ball, you complete the pass, spend a point of momentum to move on. Or you kick the ball to someone, they spend a point and they can dodge on themselves.
Yeah.
If you score a goal, you generate more momentum again, so you sort of get it back, but then you can celebrate. So you can make a 4-inch move when you run off towards the corner flag, showing off to the fans.
Yes, because it's one of those things you're going to want to do, because this is not like a normal game where you score a goal and it stops.
No,
the crowd pick up the ball and punt it back into the pitch.
Yes, any time the ball goes out of play, the crowd just kick it back on. Blood Bowl had a similar mechanic.
Okay.
I think it's better handled because it's not done in squares and similar.
Yeah.
No, it's just done with tape measure and a scatter.
Yeah, and if you score a goal, someone runs out and kicks it. It's one of the fans behind the goal trying to kick it to the team that just got scored against. So you get to try to kick it to someone, but it's really inaccurate. It will scatter. It won't land where you want it generally, but you can get it in a rough place.
As a funny story, because I know this wound Brian up.
Don't tell this story.
Aaron scored a very nice goal using his team captain, I believed.
Yes.
Is this the fisherman?
Yeah, one of the fisherman.
Shark.
Yes, Shark. Shark scored a very marvellous goal. We were all very impressed. Me and Aaron were winding Brian up very nicely as well throughout the entire day. He went very red at one point.
You two are being horrible to me.
Yeah, I know. Well,
playing on my board with the two teams that I bought. Rolling your dice, but everything else was mine.
You said act like football fans, so we did.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And the ball came back on, and Brian was attempting to get the ball to his monk character.
Who's my striker?
Yes.
The
Morticians.
I want to say necromancers. That's the problem. The morticians have a character who is basically a death monk. Who can sort of float through people or fly over their heads or so. So I thought if I get the ball to him, he could run through their team, go and score. I'll win the game anyway. Yeah, all good.
Unfortunately, the ball scattered, went straight back into the feet of Shark, who
hadn't celebrated, so he saw my momentum.
So he still had momentum left.
Flailed at him ineffectually because I only had one character left to move that wasn't anywhere near.
And he immediately just kicked the ball straight back into the goal again. And it was one of the funniest moments of tabletop gaming, actually, for me. It was hilarious.
It was great for you.
And Brian went from a slight red colour to a kind of anyone remembers Games Workshop paint, it's more of a scar red.
But it's 4 points for a goal, and I was 8-0 up, and then it was 8-all.
Yeah. I still lost the game.
Yes.
But I brought it back to a close call towards the end. Because out of hilarity.
There's two different types of games, because you got the long game and you got your short games. Because you got 6-a-side, which
5 plus the mascot.
5 plus the mascot, which is the first to 12. Or you've got the 3-man team, which is the first to 6.
First to 6, yeah.
There is a different variant in the middle as well, which is the full teams, but only to 8 points.
Okay. Yeah, so
it probably wouldn't play that, to be honest.
No, the 12 points.
The 12 points seems nice.
Yeah.
You don't know what you're rolling. You don't know what you're rolling.
One mechanic we haven't talked about is there's no points costs.
No.
For any of the models.
No,
you draft what you want as long as you've got a mascot, a captain.
Yeah. And do we like the rest?
And 4 other players. And as I said, they're bringing in the alternative captains, the alternate captains, for each team are starting to come out. So I know the fishermen have got a guy called Corsair coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the fishermen team are all sleek and nimble and all about movement and scoring goals and working together as a team. Corsair is a pirate with one foot.
Excellent.
He actually gets his foot cut off in one of the stories in the book.
Okay.
And he is coming out as a model, so you could have Shark or him.
Yeah.
Don't think you can have both.
No, because you got one captain or the other. But it depends.
But it will change the way the team will play, change the way the team feels.
I'll say the Season 2 models that I've seen so far seem to be... Well, I mean, look, the Brewers Guild are mostly about knocking people over and carrying on. The Season 2 model I've got is still very good at knocking people over and stuff like that, but he's also a much better... at a sacrifice factor a little bit, because he carries a cricket bat around with him, he's a much better striker.
Yeah.
So it seems like there's
he uses a cricket bat to score goals in football.
Yeah. Because they're allowed to.
I mean, I don't think it changes the way the team
not an overall dynamic.
I mean, it won't turn your fishermen into, say, hardcore punching people.
No,
they're still a very movement based, but it gives you that slight...
It shores up the weaknesses of the teams, if that makes sense.
Yes, it
changes.
changes.
It gives you a little bit of a variety. And it
Yeah.
means that it's not, I'm playing fishermen again. they're going to do this.
Yes.
It's like, oh, they could do something else.
They could do something else.
else.
I don't think, going back to the Malifaux comparison, it doesn't change as much as Malifaux does. For example, my Resurrectionist guild, I've got 2 masters who play completely differently, and in fact are, even though I use similar models, or in fact some of the same models, it's an entirely different team. One is a very much, we're going to sit here and poison everything, and the other one is move hard and fast and replace our losses. So you get very different games. You don't get so much with Guild Ball, but it does give you that slight variance.
Yes, yeah.
It stops your team being boring, basically.
Yeah. So yeah, I've enjoyed the games we've played with them and the variety of the different models. I'm excited to see what else is going to come out, and season 2, I think the book is out fairly soon, which will give the rest of the rules. But the models that have come out for season 2, their rules are available
for free, along with everything else.
Yeah, they're very good at giving things, letting you have a go. So if you're tempted, we did say this last time, it's worth going over again.
Yeah.
If you're tempted to have a go, have a look on their website. You can download, print out paper porn versions of each character. The rules are available for free, and I like that. I like that they're willing to say have a go, because it's not like their Games Workshop where they can have a shop near every high street. I was going to say on every high street, but they generally tend to find a dingy alleyway to tuck your Games Workshop down, away from the light, and you play a game in there to see what it's like.
Yes.
I found it can be quite intimidating going, I've seen this game that I like, I want to play it, but it costs money, because war games do. I need to convince 3 of my friends to play it as well. So hence when I got interested in Malifaux, I bought 2 armies so I could show people how to play it.
Yes. I wouldn't have bought it without having played a game,
and I was
mad.
Yeah, and I was fully prepared to just go, okay, no one else wants to play it. I bought models I like the look of. I'll paint them, I'll look at them, and I'll gently cry at home on my own, wondering why nobody loves me. Ronry.
Do that anyway.
So Ronry.
Well, that
was odd.
Yeah.
I like to keep a positive, upbeat podcast feel. Yeah. So what's next, guys, on the podcast? Yeah.
No.
Can you feel the energy in the room, guys? Yeah,
Not anymore.
We're podcasting really well.
It's gone now.
No, just me. Cool. I like the fact that they're happy to go, have a go. Yeah.
Here's the rules.
We're a small team. We can't come around your house and teach you how to play.
Yeah.
But have a go, download it.
Here's
play
paper
it.
tokens, which are nicely drawn out. It's not, a paper token with a bloke's name written on going, just use this. It's actually got that character's artwork.
Yeah, it's from the book.
Yeah.
I'd go as far to say, and apologies to the producers of this game, but you probably could just print those out, attach it to some card, and have that as a permanent game.
Yeah.
If you weren't that fussed by...
However, the rule book, as Brian has mentioned, is absolutely lovely. Nicely laid out. It's a beautiful looking book. The artwork's very nice for most of it.
It's full of lovely stories.
The character stories are
good.
Yeah.
Sorry, we talked about some of the stories before. One of the things I do like is that each character has a bit of sort of history.
Yeah.
They also have a bit of flavour text. So it's someone talking about that character. So they'll be like, so-and-so from the butchers, he's a mean old dog. You don't want to get on his wrong side. He'd stab a baby, he would. He's terrible. But it's always from the point of view of one of the other players, normally on a different team.
Yeah.
So you start to get a feel for their personalities from what they say about other people.
Yeah.
And you get a sense that it feels very much like a world that's been in progress for a lot longer than it is.
Yeah.
There's this feeling of this has been going on for years. They've been playing Guild Ball for years. You've got like characters that are the old, the veterans who are on the verge of retirement. You've got the rookies that are coming through, and there's this kind of nice feel of
there's a history.
Yeah, like if you were getting into football now.
Yeah,
you know, there's years and years of football history, and there's
comic books.
or comic books.
Yeah,
go read the other 500 editions.
Yeah, don't compare it to comic books. Comic book logic and comic book world building makes my brain hurt.
Yeah.
It genuinely puts me off.
Football
Superhero comics.
history makes my brain hurt. It's just numbers.
It's just balls. It's just
balls.
No, it's
Yeah,
the same. I can see what you mean. It's a nice
Yes.
history and something you can put your feet down on almost.
Yeah.
You can get yourself really grounded in their world and everything else. Yeah, it's lovely.
Yeah, it's a really nicely built world, almost to the point where I feel we could run a role play game in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would happily go, you guys are the new fisherman team, or
Off we
this
go.
team or that team, and then because there's talk of intrigue behind the scenes, that's reflected. You get cards when you play.
Yes. Yeah, we didn't mention that.
Sorry, I'm just going back to the roleplay. What you're essentially saying is we should play a medieval version of Dream Team from Sky.
Yes! Oh, that would be amazing.
So you've got a couple of football matches and then all the bullshit that happens
Yeah.
behind it. I like that idea.
Aragorn of the Rovers.
Dream Team would have been vastly improved if all the actors were allowed to use cricket bats on each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would happily do this because it is a nice little sort of world that they've created.
Yeah.
I mean, the world itself isn't super detailed, but the characters are, the relationships are, the politics are quite interesting.
I found it, again, I'm just going to keep comparing it to Malifaux because that's all I know now. I've deleted everything else, but it's got that kind of, you read about and go, oh, I really like this character.
Yeah.
It's an interesting character. The monk you have is on a bigger base.
Yes.
He's on one of the 40 mil bases rather than the 30 mils that most humans are. And that's because he's very nimble and, able to spread out and stop people going through, which is included in his background as well.
Yes.
And I found that similar to Malifaux, one of my characters. Sebastian is only height 1, so he's a lot more difficult to shoot. But he's the same size as a normal person. If you read the background, that's because he's just not noticed by anyone. He just wanders around and people don't realise he's there.
Yeah, he's like Igor. He creeps up behind people
Yes,
and they jump.
Yeah, he's essentially Igor. And
Just-
I like they've got that character building.
Yeah, it's not actually that he's small. It's just that he's just easy to disappear from view.
Yeah.
So they've represented it that
And
way.
they've got that character building. You go, oh, that's, he's entertaining.
Yeah.
The referee's the rulebook. The referee's the rulebook.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed the games we've played so far. We haven't talked. We've talked a bit on the mechanics. We haven't really talked about the models,
No.
which we probably should do because we're saying you don't need the models to play. You can download these lovely tokens. However, what do you guys think of the models?
I really like the models. Despite the fact they're on plastic for the most part. On a metal.
Yes.
They're metal.
models.
There's no plastic models.
There's
There's some resin.
But both of them are very nice.
Yeah, both my teams are fully metal. I'm happy with them. I'm not a big fan of metal models.
Just 'cause they're chippies.
But actually, you've got a very small team. You're not having a whole army of them that's going to clatter about.
Yeah, that's very true.
I've got
some
models.
purity seal to stop the models chipping, or matte varnish if you want to call it.
And you don't need to put them down. If you get knocked down in some games, you actually need to knock the model over. Which then plays havoc with where the base is and things like that. In this, they're just knocked down and put a token next to them. It's fine. So you don't actually need to move them around in that
It's
way.
done the same thing as, and again, compared to Malifaux, it's done because you've got ranges and stuff as well. So you've got a 1 inch or 2 inch threat range. So you don't actually have to put the models next to each other to do damage to them. So again, there's less risk of them clattering into each other and things. Yeah,
when you're trying to push some of the Malifaux beasts, not Malifaux, War Machine and Hordes, the big beasts and the big robot jobbies that stick out all over the bases and just
get knocked.
It's impossible. You need to get into base-to-base contact. It's also important which direction you're facing.
Yeah.
Because it is in that.
Don't remind me.
And it's just madness. And we alluded to it earlier. The game I saw of War Machine, when someone said they're not in base-to-base contact, I can fit a playing card in between the two.
I also
at which point it was because the models just hadn't been moved where they could have been.
The thing where you
damage each other's models.
And then the person who got stung by that lost. I'd have gone mad.
Yeah, I've seen another game being played where one, I don't know if it was a scythe or something like that, I can't quite remember, but had like a large weapon. And to get him in base-to-base contact, the guy had to turn the model on its side.
Yeah,
so he
same thing happened to me.
Pattering. Might have been Yields I was watching, actually. And because he didn't want to interfere and it would have tangled everything.
Was that thing for our radio viewers? Because that would be interesting.
There's basically like a sickle-like claw on it that was getting interfered, and the head, so Colin had turned it round so it wasn't getting jumbled in the other person's model, and at that point it wasn't facing the character and couldn't attack.
Yeah,
which it was being used against when you were trying to be conscientious towards not damaging their models.
It was a converted model and I'd made it like that, but I expect a little bit of sporting, a little bit of leeway in
these guys
behaviour.
I think that in the same principle as by Malifaux did it as well, have obviously taken that into consideration with the models. They don't want people losing what are very nice models, getting damaged and that sort of thing, so they make sure you can do it so you don't have to touch them all times, and they've got space to
and in this sense they're better than Malifaux, because Malifaux seem to have a disconnect between the rules and the people making the models, in the sense that some of the models don't fit on the bases.
Yes, I mean,
I've only had one Guild Ball model that was a bit tricky to get on the base.
I mean, I don't know,
and that took 2 minutes to sort out, not
these are so much easier to put together as well. It's really obvious where things are going, and it was about, I think, the most complicated one had 3 glue points on, and one of those to the base.
Yeah, I mean, I know the Malifaux models weren't built by model makers; they were built by 3D artists. So they haven't put gaming first. Not that that's a bad thing, because it makes the Malifaux models unique in that way that they are so bloody complicated. Please stop making the Chihuahua out of 8 pieces. It's not necessary. But it is nicer, although they are metal models and have always been a pain to put together, having a 3-piece model that actually fits on its base and sticks together nicely.
Yeah. So this was one of the things when I spoke to them at Dragon Meet, I sort of trying to convince myself to get involved in it. Brian was buying bits and pieces for it.
Yes.
I was speaking to one of the guys who designs the characters, I think, actually. And one of their sellers, and I was like, yeah, Malifaux does my head in, because putting the models together is such a pain, and I'm not a good model maker. And he went, here's the most complicated model, and he pulled one of them out. It's got 6 connection points, and they're quite large, and he showed it all to me, and he went, well, that doesn't scare me in the slightest, I could do that, it's easy. And he went, they've designed them so they don't frighten you away from doing it. They've designed them so you want a nice model you can paint and make lovely, that you want to buy to be involved in their game, and you will want to buy the models to be involved, because they are nice.
I mean, with metal models, I find they're not as detailed as resin or plastic is capable of being now. The models are still really pretty, don't take it as a bad thing. I don't think they are as detailed as, say, Malifaux models, but that's because Malifaux models are way over the top in terms of detail. What I do like, especially with the models, is they have nice use of space. They're all very dynamically posed.
Yes, yeah.
They look like they're playing football. It's not... for people who've played Games Workshop, if you remember what Space Marines look like, they got their legs apart,
with gun,
standing, pointing gun in kind of guard mode, and that's all you get, whereas these actually look like they're playing a game.
I was going to say, Mash, the guy with the cricket bat, stood there looking like he's about to
he's got the torsos turned, it looks like he's swinging. Kraken, who is in a stationary pose, but that's because he's a defender, so it all works with their characters.
The poses reflect the character of the models quite nicely.
It's not static models that look boring.
And even one of the models I've got that's a female model who's kind of stood with her arms behind her back. She's got her arms behind her back because she's hiding a knife. So you look at her and she goes, and then you turn around and you go, ooh, and she's got that sneakiness.
Yes, so I think they are very, very nice models.
Yeah, they are. What do we think price-wise? We talked a bit about Malifaux price-wise. Money's an odd thing to talk about. I mean, we're British. We don't talk about those kind of things.
No. You are talking to 2 students as well.
Yeah, so as students, as people that obviously have to watch their money, watch my money, my tax money, ripping through your fingers.
It's some of mine I'm getting back. I worked full-time for nearly 10 years.
I genuinely don't subscribe to that. Watch my tax money. I think that's insane.
It is my tax money. I want it back.
But sometimes you guys are just such an easy target because you've not got enough education.
Actually,
yet.
then again,
sorry, I did it again, didn't I?
That I will believe because I really don't have
Open
an
goal.
education.
Back in the net. But as genuinely, as people that have to watch what you're spending, whereas someone like me, who is an overgrown man-child with a career and no children,
Hence I bought 2 teams of Malifaux just to see whether the game was good or not, which would make me cry myself. Well, I'd kill myself.
What did I do with Guild Ball? I bought 2 teams of Guild Ball
just
and
to
the
play
pitch,
a game,
and the cards, and the rulers and the scatter thing.
He's doing
and
that
the
thing where he's
tokens.
rubbing it in and he's gone,
No, it's just I have a problem and
Aaron has
I cry for help.
Aaron has a wife.
That's where your money goes. Yes.
She requires sustenance to live.
Yes.
She's the breadwinner, Aaron.
She is the breadwinner.
Don't tell her that.
Oh no, she knows.
Oh, damn.
But she's very generous with giving me my spending money. She likes me buying pretties.
As long as you ask nicely and do the washing up.
Exactly.
Yes.
I'm a bought man and I'm happy with that.
Should we get back to Guild Ball?
Guild Ball, the pricing of it. I mean, I think I spent about 40 quid on a full team.
Yeah.
Which I didn't feel...
And the rule book is 2025?
2025, yeah, which you don't necessarily need, but it's very nice to have and it's lovely.
So 65 quid for your team, and the rules is... It's about...
It's just a PS4 game, really. That's how I saw it. I looked at it as a...
Yeah.
Well, I spend that much in a game. I tend to pick something that lasts me like 10 to 12 hours. That means 5 games of Guild Ball and I've probably caught up.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel I was being ripped off in the slightest.
Talking about 40 quid for a team, and that's a 6-man team.
You're looking at it's about 20 to 25 pounds for a starter set, which is the captain and 2 models.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're then adding in a ball. Yes, you get a ball. The ball is a model.
Oh, excellent. Does that come in every set?
So you're looking at 25 quid for the starter box.
Yeah.
You're looking at 7 to 14 pounds per extra model.
Mm-hmm.
Most are in the 7 to 10 range. Some of the bigger ones are at that sort of that 14 pound sort of mark. If you see them at a convention, if you're at Dragon Meet, you're at Games Expo, you're at any of these things. They were doing offers, so I got 2 teams, a rule book, and some extra models for £100-ish, which was a handsome saving on ordering it directly from them or from any other website. Really nice, and really happy with, because I didn't know anything about what each model did, but they taught me through the options, and I'm really happy with the teams I ended up with and models that I got. I'm quite happy looking through. I'm going, that is the kind of thing I wanted when I kind of mumbled something about wanting to score lots of goals to a man I'd never met, and he quite happily, quite kindly and nicely maintained his patience and taught me through what I needed. Without going, speak up!
I mean, price-wise, I've always, when I start a war game, I always compare the pricing to what I used to spend on GW. Back in the day. So, very early on, when I started up my Space Marine army, I needed £10 for the Codex, and I needed £45 for the army box set.
Yes,
which for the Space Marines contained 2 troops, a fast attack, and a rhino, and then £12.50 for a captain. So that was about
no rule book in there either.
No rule book, but you got your codex. So that was, say, about 60-70 quid for a 500-point army, which
is tiny.
Is half of what you need to actually play a decent game. So I always compare it to that. If I can get a game for about 50-60 quid, I'm happy.
And although, I mean, in that case you'd have had sort of 15, nearly 20 models from that, and in this case you've only got 5 or 6, we are talking 15 years ago.
Yes.
So that's 60-70 quid. If you were to walk into a Games Workshop now,
150 at least.
Well, here's
a
a terrible story. I went into our local Trainers for You hobby store to pick up some tools, and they had the Space Marine Codex for £35 as the hardback version, which is absolutely disgusting. Because that's not, and the rules, which, to be fair, contain 3 books, and it was a big chunky thing with one containing rules, but you can't get it separately. You have to buy the bundle. Was £70.
Yeah,
and that's hard to get
You can't.
You can't justify spending that if you've not played the game before.
Yeah.
Whereas these guys let you play the game for free and check everything and look at everything, and have then priced all their models and everything else
accordingly. I mean,
reasonable price.
If cash is a problem, which I'm going to be honest, for me, I don't have a lot spare at the moment. I've been buying Malifaux models.
Yeah.
But what I am probably going to do is print off the paper ones and then slowly replace the paper ones with the actual models.
You can try out, you can go, do I want the striker or do I want the midfielder?
Yeah, you can.
I'll have a game with each and then decide which one I'm actually going to spend my £10.50 on.
I mean, then if you go, I've got a spare tenner, well, you only have to buy one model. Yeah. You can still play with the other paper ones, just slow. And I like that as an option for people that don't, because we don't all have 70 quid all at once to spend.
No.
Yeah. And you could play, just to get going, 3-on-3.
Yeah.
At which point, a team download the rules. You can try the game with some models for 20 quid.
Yeah. Which is anyone who's played war games, that's the cheapest you can possibly get. Actually,
yes.
There isn't a war game that's cheaper than that.
They're incredibly generous, all considered.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's not bad quality models you've got.
No, I like the models. You're right when you say they've not got that level of detail necessarily, but actually, each model has character.
Yes.
And you say they are like having a character model. If you're playing your Space Marines, all those Space Marines would blur together apart from the guy with the cloak and the fancy hat.
Yes.
Each model looks different.
Unique.
Everyone is a character model. So they're priced at that sort of level that you pay for a character, a hero, a HQ choice, whatever, a master or whatever you want to class them in different games. But they are a unique character. They've got their name, they've got their abilities, they're interesting, they're different. I quite like, there's a couple of the models I just like because I like their backstory, so I've included them. So I like taking, I want to use the vice captain for the Morticians more, because in the backstory he hates the captain.
Yeah,
and I think it's just funny. And I'm going to try and make sure they never pass to each other because they don't like each other. And it's just quirky, and the vice captain, it looks really sinister. He's got like a crystal ball, and he's all punched over, and he looks like if you were to pick someone to be the evil, scheming bastard, it would be him.
Yeah,
and it's just like, oh, cool, yeah. That's why he looks the way. That's why he's the way he is.
Yeah,
and it's just interesting to have that kind of that quirk, that feel, that character to each model. I really like that.
Yeah,
definitely.
I know a lot of people because. I was talking about Malifaux actually onto internets with some people that I used to wargame with, and they were talking about how they don't like the fact that the characters aren't theirs and they like to make their own characters and similar.
Yes, I had the very same thing when we first started War Machine, which is I went, I want to build my own character, and then I completely changed that.
Yeah.
I learned to appreciate actually the backstory for various systems characters.
Yeah.
But in this game it's so rich that you don't feel like you need to personalise it more, if that makes sense.
I know some people that have like created their own Space Marine chapter and they've come up with the history, they've named their characters, and it's all very nice,
Sons of Cassius, I call them.
Who was Cassius? Regale us with tales
Cassius
of Cassius.
was the Ultramarine chaplain that started up the Tyranid veteran hunters.
Okay.
So I made the Sons of Cassius as he convinced the Imperium to make a new Tyranid hunting chapter because Tyranid war veterans, there weren't enough. So I made a whole chapter, and this was at the time when you could take the perks for your Space Marines. All of mine had Tyranid hunters.
Okay.
Which cost a point for each model, when I took regardless of what army I was fighting. Because it was because mine were all Tyranid veterans.
Yeah. And I think, actually, for people that want to create stories, yes, you don't get to name them yourself.
No.
But actually, you've got stories there, you've got things, you can almost role-play your team to a certain extent.
Well, yeah, I mean, the fact that you went, we could play a role play, my brain didn't instantaneously go, I mean, like with the Malifaux one you've introduced me to, okay, I need a little bit more to get into that, and I understand how it works now. Whereas this, I've gone, definitely, I could see that being a fun little thing.
Yeah.
Really quick.
Oh, yeah. That just came out of my head just now.
Yeah.
I mean,
actually,
that sounds awesome.
It's fine.
There's also things like you can do a league.
Yeah.
do a Guild Ball League.
We're going to do a Guild Ball League.
Yes.
So that's the plan. And if people are interested, we could maybe talk about that as we go through.
After-match reports.
And one of the things I think...
Bit of commentary. We could even try and film some, actually.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I mean, one of the things I can see happening when we play the league, and if you're Sam playing against Aaron and he has the cricket bat brewer that keeps knocking down one of my players, I can actually see about the next game going, right, sod the game, all my team just ganging up on this cricket baller and having involving stories around that.
A little story from there,
yeah. You'll have grudges built up.
Yeah.
So last game, that one picked on this one, right? I'm going to have her back. I'm hoping that they bring in some kind of campaign system, maybe injuries to the team or experience or those sorts of things.
We touched on it very quickly. It's a rule we haven't really explained probably. The intrigue cards.
Yes, you get a selection of cards that have in-game effects to represent all the scheming and politics that go on between the guilds.
So there's a little bit of that starting to cut. Well, I say starting. They've put into the game. So it seems like that's what they're intending.
Those are the season 1 cards, and it looks to me like as they develop the story and it continues through, you'll get season 2 cards that will either add in, or you'll get a separate deck, or you'll start getting different things coming in. And I'm quite looking forward to seeing where they take it. I'm quite taken with the game. I've enjoyed it. Happy to play loads more games of it. It's just deciding between Guild Ball and Malifaux is the trick at the moment.
I like Malifaux now.
I bought you some models.
I've swayed more towards it. I hope you like the models, so thank you.
I feel if we've got 2 hours to play a game,
we'll play
Guild Ball. If we're in a mood where we want to be a bit more jokey and jovial about a game, and it's more
Guild Ball.
It's very casual game, because we never play hardcore. We never we never. You can put a card between them. You're a tenth of an inch out.
Malifaux isn't a game which you can half switch on though.
No. Malifaux's very intense. So
I mean,
if we've got an evening and it's like, I haven't wargamed in a month. It's like,
let's go for
Malifaux. Let's really dive in.
Yeah.
But if we're playing every week, actually, Guild Ball would be great to bring out.
I mean, I played a game of Malifaux where I really wasn't paying attention. I'd lost the game by turn 2 because I went, I just wandered up half the board and went, I haven't paid attention to anything that's going on, and I've lost.
I did ask you at the beginning of the game if you had a plan. And that was a very subtle hint to say, Colin, move your models around.
Yeah, I think I was tired by that point. But Guild Ball, you can get away with a little bit more of that.
Yeah.
Because there's far less options. It's beat the crap out of the other players and score a goal.
Yeah.
Yay!
So, welcome to today's match. We've got the Titan that is Aaron taking on the Giant that is Colin, both of whom only 5 foot tall. Now, the rules are quite simple. It's a game of one half. We're not going to turn round in the middle. It's just one game, yeah? Yeah, lads? You got it? You got it, lads?
I can count to 1. I can deal with
this.
Let's
have a shake hands before the match. Shake hands before the match. Yeah, you can do it like that if you like, lads. That's weird. Right, what I'm going to do, I'm going to ask you a series of questions. First answer in wins.
Do we get buzzers?
No, you just use your voice, lad. Yeah, this is football. Yeah,
voice?
None of those Nancy boy buzzers like what they have on the telly. Yeah,
do we have to sing the answers?
Yeah, jumpers for goalposts. Jumpers for goalposts.
Real footballers use proper goalposts. Why can't I have proper buzzers?
What if
You're never going to make it in this game, lad, with an attitude like that. You've got to toughen up. This is the Premier League. All right, governor.
What if I get cold? I'm going to need my
slightly
jumper.
patronising, mate. Yeah, I'm from London. Yeah?
All right.
None of your hummus eating, knock-off, mockney nonsense, yeah? It's cultural appropriation.
What is that?
What I'm going to do is I'm going to name some names, and you're going to say footballer if you think they're a footballer, or you're going to say not if you think they're not a footballer. Yeah?
I think I get it.
Yeah?
Got it.
Got it? Yeah? Yeah? Let me see your war face. Oh, that's good radio.
One question. What if I need my jumper because it's cold out?
Yeah, they don't think of that. I mean, it's like shirts and skins. Like,
It's a man's game. It's a man's game.
I don't want somebody's nipples in my eye while I'm trying to kick a ball out from between their legs.
It's not just that. I'm not.
This ain't rugby. I don't know what you're doing.
The other thing is, we're not as young as we used to be. It gets a bit cold nowadays. You have to be layered up. It's not like when you're at school and you just went, I can walk around in a t-shirt. I need my
old
jumper.
man, boss. You don't want me
Jiggling.
Yeah, jiggling on the pitch.
Are you done? Right. So first one in gets the point or gives the point to the other side. It's like a penalty shootout situation. You got it?
Yes.
Excellent. Right. First name then. Just call out if you think you know. First name.
I don't know why I'm concentrating.
Footballer or not? Jellyman. Not. Oh no. Gareth Jellyman used to play for Peterborough United. 1-0 to Colin. Back of the net.
Well, this is easy.
Is that his real name?
Yeah. Gareth Jellyman, yeah.
His mum.
This is worse than when we did the fake fantasy names.
He once got sent off and on telly they said, Jellyman's thrown a wobbler.
Okay, fair enough. Football's quite funny at times.
Right, on a similar vein then, number 2. Seaman.
Yes.
Yes, David Seaman.
He was a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Do I get an extra point for that?
No. It's not how it works. Although I do remember once hearing one of the commentators say, Seaman's come out, there's seaman all over the box. Good days. That's my childhood. That's why I'm the way I am. Right. I've got another name for you. Mario Turdo.
Yes.
Yes, definitely. Mario Turdo. Real footballer.
What a great name. That poor bastard.
Similar vein again, boys. Rod Fanny.
No.
No, Rod Fanny's a real one. 2-2.
You can answer 2.
Assman.
No.
Fabian Assman, he's a real footballer too. 3-2 to Colin.
Can commentators not cope with more syllables, so they have to make them...
Danny Shittu.
Yes?
Yes, Danny Shittu's a real player. Yeah.
Sorry, has the situation ever come up with Seaman is heading to Assman or Seaman is closing into Assman?
Returning to our superhero theme, Hulk.
I'd say yes.
Yes, Hulk plays for Brazil, he does.
Does he?
He
Well, I
does.
mean, it's easier to escape from the American army there, I suppose.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Right.
This is a weird game. Football, I mean, not this.
Yeah, just
Stefan Kuntz.
Yes.
Yes, Stefan Kuntz is a real player. Yeah, he is. Yeah.
I had to.
He's one of them there Germans, though, so let's not talk about him for too long. Football things. Similar thing. Ralph Minge.
yes.
Yeah, Ralph Minge is a real player. 5-4 to Colin. Which means we go into sudden death. No, we don't. Not yet. No. Shut up. Quim.
Quim. Just Quim.
Just Quim.
Just Quim. Nothing else. No, Quim's a real name as well.
Oh, fuck off.
Finally then, last one. It's all to play for going into the final minutes, apart from the fact that Colin's already won because Aaron's too far behind. Hey. Oh, football. Banter. Last one then. Anil Cock.
Yes.
Yes. Anil Cock. Back in the net, Colin. Final score then. The Giants of Colin have triumphed 7-4 to the tiny midget minnows
So
of
I only
Aaron.
answered about 4 questions. I'd just like to say, let's not football. Football is a silly place. Let's go do something sensible like cricket.
I'm never ever accepting, his fancy names are well stupid, ever again.
Don't know what you mean. It's a man's sport.
Yeah, with
Anyway,
manly nicknames like Quim.
that's it for the banter round. Whey, lads!
Way.
Excellent. Is there anything else you'd like to add then? Anything else you'd like to say about it?
No, just
Model.
get involved.
Play. No, all sounds good.
I think it's great. I think we're in a nice place when it comes to. I mean, board games have taken off.
Yes.
There's more and more board games coming out, getting more and more coverage. There was a review of Pandemic Legacy in the Guardian, I think it was.
Was there really?
Or the Independent. One of the big newspapers I saw.
Good Lord.
Good.
This week. So board games are really taking off.
Yeah.
Role-playing games, we're now at the age of there being loads and loads of independent presses that can put things out. I just had Goblin Quest by Grant Howitt has arrived finally. Kickstarted that ages ago. It's now arrived. Quite eager to have a go. Would quite like just to record a game. Because it looks like great fun. It's easier and easier to get these little games into people's hands. Things like Fiasco as well.
Yeah,
played before,
really good,
and we're going to play for this probably this month at some point.
Yes.
Again, computer games, we've got independent gaming is booming.
Yeah.
The costs of making a game are coming down, which means people are willing to take more risks.
Which is
because you
great.
don't spend £10 million on a game that's that's niche, but you might spend a year with you and your mate in a study somewhere making a game
Well,
that's
you look at
niche.
Super Meat Boy and...
Oh, yeah, loads
Or
and loads of
Undertale,
games.
an entire RPG based on not getting into combat, pretty much. No,
And
it's
actually-
weird, but good.
A lot of the games I'm looking forward to this year are kind of quirky little independent games.
I find myself looking more and
You
more
are
on those
a bastard, you.
I'm just we talked about this before, that the big games are becoming one homogenous side quest strewn blob.
Yeah.
Don't forget crafting. It's a
with
crafting
crafting,
homogenous blob.
And finally, wargaming. We're now. When I was a wee lad,
Just a lad.
when I was just a lad, and I used to live down to mine, we didn't even have food. Sorry,
weird.
It's gone 3 Yorkshiremen, isn't it? Yeah. When I was getting into the hobby, I mean, the internet helps with this. It was Games Workshop or nothing.
Oh, that's all I remember.
And I still call it the hobby from that being the Games Workshop term.
I didn't even...
Years later, I just found myself. I've just done it now.
I didn't even realise there were any other games.
Yeah.
It was GW
Have you
and that's
heard,
it.
you know Airfix?
Yeah.
Obviously been around for years, making little models. They've introduced a little war game to go for their
Yes.
models now.
Good Lord.
By Modifius, who have done
Ooh.
lots of games we like.
Yes.
And who are very lovely people.
Yeah.
Actually could be quite interesting. The costs are coming down.
Yeah.
Resin is relatively cheap. The cost of moulds is coming down.
3D
the cost
printing.
of 3D sculpting,
3D printing,
3D printing
sculpting.
is coming down. And now, yes, Malifaux is an American game. I can order it. I can get hold of it.
Yeah, I'm getting rid of
When I
it.
was younger. And we've got this diversity now.
Yeah.
And Guild Ball is a great part of that, because 15 years ago Guild Ball wouldn't have worked.
No.
It wouldn't have had any way of gaining the market share. It'd have been mail order only.
Yeah.
Been very difficult to get hold of. It wouldn't have had the visibility at the conventions and things that are going on.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad now that we've got this thing with the hobbies that we like. That actually there's this diversity of ideas, this diversity of voices. I think it's quite interesting.
Yes.
And it's not now people say I'm into Games Workshop. What's your hobby? I really like Games Workshop. Now I like miniature gaming. I like wargaming.
Yeah.
I like tabletop gaming.
Yeah.
I like playing games with my friends, and that covers video games and board games and role-playing games and war games.
Yes.
Because that's what I'd say now.
Yeah. I like gaming, and when I say that, I do mean all those things.
All those things. And that's why we're
Which
covering
is-
all those things.
Yes.
I've always told work, and they only thought it meant computer gaming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's starting to... I can mention it to people now, and I get questions, even at work.
Are we in
about-
the age of the geeks?
Yes.
About bloody time.
Yeah. It's become more acceptable, and all better for it.
So, do we think then, is Guild Ball a critical hit or a critical miss?
Critical hit for me.
Critical hit for me.
Excellent. So thanks for listening. We've been the Critical Twits. I individually have been Brian Ennis.
I, as part of a collective, have been Aaron Ravinsky.
And I postmodernly have been Colin Howard. I'm using words I don't understand.
So, until next time, we'll be trying to explain postmodernist thought to Colin.
Yes.
Postmodernist, there you go.
Bye!
Bye!